Alright, so today we're going to do something a little more fun. To take a look at my driver's seat right here. I've got a dash cam and the hardwire kit that came with. We're going to try and then mount this somewhere on the left side of my rear view mirror, probably like right there. And we're going to try and run the wire in between the trim and down into the interior fuse box, because I do not want to take up the cigarette lighter or car charging port right there. And plus, by hardwiring it into your fuse box, it allows for this thing called parking mode, which pretty much just gives you extra security for while your car is parked. If your car gets dinged or somebody walks by and you know, tries to do something to your car, the motion sensor or the sensitivity on the actual camera will detect it and it'll turn on and start recording automatically. And you know, it could save you from any future incidents. And also, if you ever driven for as long as me or even longer, you'll know there are plenty of stupid drivers out on the road that just, you know, don't know what they're doing, or they're either new or they're just very inconsiderate of others. But it's always nice to have a dash cam in your car no matter what. Even though you don't need it, or you may think you may not need it, you will always end up regretting it when the time comes. So yeah, just gonna get this installed. It's been a long time coming. Probably should have done this a lot sooner. And the nice thing is, mine specific dash cam that I got comes with a rear camera. It's just I'm kind of limited on time right now, so I'm just gonna focus on getting the front one installed because that's the most important one. And then hopefully I'll come back another day and set up that rear one once I figure out how to run that. But yeah, let's get started. First off, we'll start off with taking off this plastic panel to get access to the fuse box. From what I've seen in the videos, all it takes is just a little persuasion and pulling it down, releasing those clips. Start from the bottom, work your way to the top, and don't worry about breaking it. These clips are on there pretty tight, but they are sturdy, so you're not gonna really break anything from removing some clips. Just that last one and this bottom one, just like that. You've got it all taken apart. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect these plugs to these buttons out here, and then we'll go from there. And just like that, that is what the interior fuse box looks like. For our purpose, we will be using fuse slot number 42 and 32. As you can see, they're both open right there. 42 will be used for the yellow wire, which is for accessories. So when you turn your car on is when the camera will get power. And number 32 is the hot constant, which means even while your car is off, it will still be feeding a very, very, very little amount of power to the camera, so that if while your car is parked and you have parking mode enabled on your camera, and like I said, if either your car gets hit or somebody walks by, it'll activate and turn on and record for, you know, depending where you have your settings on, it'll record either for a minute or 3 minutes or however much you want. But before we get to that, we will need to crimp the wires to the actual power cable for the fuse adapter. Okay, so before we start the crimping process, as you may have noticed, the wires are quite a bit long for what we need. This is specifically just goes to the fuse box right there inside the plastic panels. The rest of the cable, however, is more than long enough to run to where my camera will be mounted. So what I will do, and you probably won't see this in other videos, is I will actually chop the red and yellow wire that hooks up to my fuse adapters, And the only one I will leave uncut is the ground wire, because it's just a single wire. I can tuck that a lot easier. And what I will do right here is I'll probably leave about 8 to 10 inches, just enough movement and free play for so I can plug my fuse adapters in, and not have all this extra cable in the way. Like, I've seen another video where they just bundled it up and zip tied it. I really don't like that. It's a little too messy for me. So I'll go to, like I said, about 8 to 10 inches. So maybe right here at this crease, I'll just chop both and then crimp from there instead. Let's strip the wires. And then I have my crimp tool right here. Crimp each one individually, make sure there's no loose strands. Make sure to crimp it really good so that it doesn't come apart. I always do like a little tug just to test it. Actually seems like the red side, or I meant the fuse side, is a little loose, and that's the factory side, so we'll crimp that a little bit more tighter. Alright, tug test is good. Okay, let's get the next one. Same thing. Make sure there's no loose strands. It's all bundled up nice and tight. Hit that right there. Perfect. And then what I like to do as like a safety measure or insurance, whatever you want to call it, I like to wrap these crimp butt connectors with some electrical tape just to make sure it doesn't fall apart, and also just so these corners don't snag on anything. Just like that. Perfect and nice and shortened. And this will work just like it normally would, just without all that extra loose cable hanging. And let's go back to the car and plug this all up. And just like that, I have the car already on and plugged into the camera to make sure it works. And as you can see, it is working perfectly fine. There's power to the actual device. And where I hooked up my ground cable is actually right behind this 10 mil. Make sure you slide the ground cable right between the metal and behind the plastic, because otherwise you won't get power to your camera at all. Like, your ground cable is the most important of this step. If you don't ground your wires properly, you will not get power. So make sure not to put it on between the plastic and the screw. Put it behind the plastic so that it's actually touching bare metal. And just to show you guys what it looks like down here on fuses 42 and 32, it's plugged in just like that. And these actually already come with 5 amp fuses hooked up to them, which is nice. And if you guys don't already know, these use the low profile mini fuses. So I'm going to turn the car off and see if this thing, just like that. See, it's in parking mode now. I had already actually set up the camera before recording this video, so that's why it's already instantly working. So make sure you also have parking mode enabled if you are going to set it up hardwired just like mine. Otherwise it probably won't stay on or do the thing that you need it to do. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and mount the camera right on my windshield and wire it up, run the wires behind all the trim, and I'll show you the end product. Okay, so I've got most of the wire tucked in, as you can see. Pretty clean. You can't even notice where it's going. But one last thing I wanted to mention before I snapped all the plastics all back together. This controller right here, if you guys happen to have the same dash cam and hardware kit as me, I made sure to leave the switch on the highest volt drop that it allows, which is 12.4, just because with these newer vehicles and the new electronics, they tend to use a little bit more juice or need a little bit more juice to start the car. So if you have the camera able to use too much voltage, you might have troubles starting your car later on. But if you're driving every day, the alternator will always be charging the battery anyway, so you might be fine. But just as a safety precaution, make sure to leave it on the max setting, whatever yours may be. Mine just has to be 12.4 volts, so I'll leave it on that. And yeah, let's plug all these switches back in and put the plastics back together. All right, and the installation is complete. What I did was actually run the wire backwards. Normally people would run from the fuse box up and then leave the excess in here. I saw a video on how to take apart that rear view mirror plastic, and it looked way too flimsy for my liking, so I decided to run it from here first, from the camera first, tucked a little bit in there, and then behind the ceiling liner, right behind this A-pillar plastic, and the weather stripping is actually very easily removable. So you actually peel this whole strip all the way down and tuck all your wire behind that. And once you get back to that, down to the bottom, all I did was zip tie everything and tucked it right behind the kicker panel where your hood release is. Just like that, you can barely see like where everything is. It's all still plugged in, nice and snug right there. And if you guys happen to have a pair of crimpers and wire strippers, I recommend shortening the wire like I did, because you definitely have a lot less bulk in the end. And I also gave the plastic clips a lot more credit than it actually deserved, because out of all, it went back together pretty nicely, except for this last middle clip right here. As you can see, I have a little bit of a gap, and that's because the plastic clip right there broke right there in the middle. So just be careful when you guys are removing this, not to tug it too hard, or maybe tug it with both hands a little more straight, unlike I did with just prying it with one arm. But yeah, that's going to be a little bit annoying right there. I don't know if there actually is a fix for this other than just replacing that whole plastic piece with another Civic. So, and that's pretty much it for today's video. I just wanted to show you guys my long awaited but definitely needed dash cam installation. Hopefully I get to catch some cool or interesting stuff while driving this car, since it is my daily. I do like to take the back roads a lot of the time, so maybe I can get some cool clips or something interesting pops up. But I mostly got it for security and insurance purposes, as like I said before, lots of crazy drivers out there, so make sure you guys watch out for yourselves, and definitely get a dash cam if you haven't already. All right, see you guys.